Welcome to English Passage, the channel where stories don't just entertain, they teach you real English. If you're here, it's because you're ready to take your first real step in learning to speak English. Maybe you've tried memorizing grammar rules before. Maybe you've read textbooks or watched fast-talking lessons that left you more confused than confident. But here, we do things differently. At English Passage, we teach English the natural way, through stories. Why? Because stories help you feel the language, remember the words, and connect them to real life. Today, you're not just watching a video, you're entering an English environment. And by the end of today's lesson, you'll be able to build and speak simple, real sentences in English. Sentences that follow the most important pattern in the entire language, the subject plus verb structure. This is day 1 of your 30-day journey. And it's the most important day because it's your starting point. So take a deep breath, relax, and trust the process. You'll listen, repeat, speak, and grow with every sentence. Let's begin. Phase 1. Understanding the learning journey. Before any learner can begin forming real sentences in English, it's essential to understand the purpose of structure because all meaningful communication, whether it's a quick response or a thoughtful idea, begins with a sentence that has a clear and logical foundation. To truly begin speaking English with clarity and confidence, the very first thing every learner must understand is that a sentence, no matter how simple or advanced, needs a solid structure to make sense and connect with others. The first step in speaking any language begins not with memorizing words, but by understanding how the language is built. And in English, that foundation is the subject and the verb. Every skill begins with one clear step. For English learners, that step is structure. Before we speak fluently or write confidently, we need to understand how English works from the inside out. And just like a building needs a solid foundation, language needs a basic structure that everything else can grow from. In this short phase, we take a moment to ground ourselves in the why while we're learning what we're learning today. Example: she sings. They work. I study. Phase 2. The power of the subject plus verb structure. Before you can build long sentences or master tenses, you need to know how to express the simplest action. Who is doing what? And that's exactly what the subject plus verb structure helps you do from day 1. Every fluent sentence in English, from the most basic to the most complex, starts with a simple, powerful pattern, subject plus verb. And by learning this core structure, learners can begin to form complete thoughts immediately, even with limited vocabulary. Before we can speak fluently, we must first speak clearly. And that starts by mastering the subject plus verb pattern, the single most essential structure in English communication. The subject plus verb structure is not just grammar, it's the lifeblood of every English sentence. When you understand this pattern, you can communicate clearly. When you don't, even the simplest idea becomes confusing. In this phase, we begin our story with Ravi, a beginner who wants to speak confidently. He proudly says, "She go to school every day," but something sounds off. Listeners don't correct him to be rude, they correct him because they want to help. His sentence is missing subject-verb agreement. Examples: incorrect, he eat breakfast. Correct, he eats breakfast. Incorrect, she walk to work. Correct, she walks to work. Phase 3. What is a subject in English? Every English sentence begins with someone or something taking action or being described, and this part of the sentence, the subject, is your starting point in every conversation, statement, or question. If we think of an English sentence like a short movie, the subject is always the star, the one doing the action, feeling the emotion, or being described. And every sentence needs this clear actor to guide the listener or reader. Every sentence begins with someone or something taking action. And in English, we call this the subject, the who or what that leads the way. Who is doing the action? That's your subject. Without it, your sentence has no focus. In this phase, we dive deeper into the first part of the formula, the subject. Whether it's I, you, he, she, they, or a name like Ravi, the subject tells us who or what the sentence is about. Examples: I read, you sleep, he works, they play. Phase 4. What is a verb? Understanding actions and states. If the subject is the who or what in your sentence, then the verb is the how. It tells us what the subject is doing, feeling, or being. And without it, your sentence simply cannot function. Just as a story without action becomes dull, a sentence without a verb loses its energy. Verbs are the heartbeat of English, expressing not only what someone does, but also what they are or how they feel. After identifying who is performing the action, we turn our focus to the action itself, the verb, which drives the sentence forward and brings it to life. The verb is the engine of the sentence. It shows movement, change, or identity. Without it, your sentence sits still. Once we know who we're talking about, we need to know what they're doing. In this phase, we shift our focus to verbs, the words that bring energy and action to our ideas. Examples: action verbs, I run, she eats, we study. State verbs, he is happy, they are ready. Phase 5. Building real sentences with subject plus verb. Now that we understand the key ingredients of every English sentence, the subject and the verb, it's time to combine them into real, useful phrases that you can confidently say in everyday situations. The true beginning of speaking English happens the moment you form your first complete sentence. And in this phase, we use the subject plus verb formula to create real examples that you can use in everyday conversation right away. Once we've understood the key ingredients, subjects and verbs, it's time to put them together and start building real, usable sentences you can speak with confidence. Now that we know the parts, it's time to bring them together and form complete, powerful sentences. Using the simple formula of subject plus verb, we start creating short, meaningful English sentences that learners can use right away. Examples: I eat, you run, he sings, we learn. Phase 6. Story practice, understanding through listening. The best way to make grammar stick is to hear it in context, through real, relatable stories that make abstract rules become natural patterns you can absorb without even realizing it. Our brains remember best when information is connected to meaning, emotion, and visuals, which is why stories are such a powerful way to internalize grammar. This phase transforms simple rules into living, relatable experiences. Learning grammar in isolation can be boring and forgettable. But when we hear grammar used inside a meaningful story, it becomes natural, memorable, and powerful. Grammar becomes alive when it's used inside a story. And in this phase, we do just that. We step into a short, simple story about Ravi's morning routine. Each sentence is crafted with the subject plus verb pattern in mind. Example story: Ravi wakes up. He brushes his teeth. He eats breakfast. He walks to school. Phase 7. Speaking practice, call and response. It's not just about understanding what to say. It's about being able to say it quickly and naturally. And that's where call and response repetition becomes a powerful fluency tool. Fluency in any language isn't just about understanding. It's about quick, confident responses in real time. In this phase, we challenge you to react instantly to prompts, helping you develop reflexive, natural speaking habits. To build fluency, you must train your brain and mouth to respond quickly. And that's exactly what we practice through this fast and focused call and response training. It's not enough to understand, you need to speak, respond, and react. That's what this phase is all about. Using the call and response method, we help learners train their brain to speak automatically. Call and response examples. Call, she, response, eats. Call, play, response, they play. Call, run, response, I run. Phase 8, Guided Sentence Creation, Talk about yourself. One of the most powerful moments in learning English is when you begin to speak not about imaginary characters, but about yourself, using real sentences to describe your life, your habits, and your day. The real magic in learning a language happens when you stop repeating other people's words and start using the language to describe your own world, your habits, your thoughts, and your daily life. And this is where personal fluency begins. The moment you begin using English to talk about your own life, your learning becomes real. Because now, you're not just repeating English, you're living it. Speaking becomes powerful when it's personal. In this phase, you take the lead. We ask you to create your own subject plus verb sentences, not about Ravi, not about Anna, but about you. Examples. I wake up at 6. I brush my teeth. I eat breakfast. I go to school. Phase 9. Review and recap. The most effective way to remember and master what you've learned is to pause and review. Because it's through review and repetition that good grammar becomes natural, automatic speaking. Review isn't just repetition, it's a powerful learning tool that helps move knowledge from short-term memory into lasting fluency. And in this phase, we bring everything together to reinforce confidence and mastery. Before we close today's lesson, let's go back and reinforce what you've learned. Because review isn't repetition, it's a powerful step toward mastery. Before we end, we go back, not to repeat, but to remember, reinforce, and rise. We quickly review everything we've learned. Pronoun practice. I cook. You walk. He teaches. We study. They play. Phase 10. Closing and motivation. What's next? Ending the lesson is just the beginning of your journey. Because everything you practice today is a stepping stone towards speaking English confidently. And the next lesson will continue building your fluency block by block. Learning English is not about finishing one lesson. It's about building momentum that carries you forward. And today, you've made your first big breakthrough. In this final phase, we reflect on your success and prepare for what comes next. Now that you've completed day 1, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned. This is more than grammar. This is the beginning of a confident English-speaking journey. Congratulations! You've just taken your first step toward fluency, and it was a powerful one. Today, you didn't just learn the subject plus verb structure. You used it. You spoke it. You lived inside it. You repeated real English. You made corrections. You built your own sentences. Recap example. I read. She walks. We eat. They sleep. In day 2, we learn how to use am, is, and are, the be verbs that help you describe the world around you. You'll be able to say things like, I am happy She is tired. They are students. It's the next layer of your fluency journey. Until then, like this video, subscribe to English Passage, comment below with your favorite sentence from today's practice. Your journey isn't about getting it perfect. It's about showing up, practicing, and improving one story at a time. See you in the next lesson. Keep learning. Keep speaking. Jai Hind. Vande Matram.